Welcome to the Weekly Gaming Blast, the podcast that gives you all the last week's news unhinged. I'm AkibanaZero.
And I'm Rue the Gamer. Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. It's the second time I've seen you today, which is a blessing,
Well,
a bona fide blessing.
oh, thank you. Yes, we were together at this month's NPB, Nintendo Players Brighton meetup.
Yep, they're going very, very strong at the moment. We're getting very consistent numbers, which is good.
Yeah, really, really, really good. And nice raffle once again.
Yep, it's a self-fulfilling thing, completely self-sufficient thing now. So any money that's put into the raffle comes back out of it. So it's just its own thing. It just keeps building up.
Right, that's awesome. There was some really cool stuff, some amiibos, a display, Super Mario display for your amiibos, like so many good things. That was a really nice meetup. So hey, what have you been up to lately, gaming wise?
Well, the main game I've been playing, which I can actually talk about, but I can't talk about too much. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Mm.
Full disclosure, review copy from Nintendo. I have to disclose that. It's good. It's very good. Like really good.
Jelly.
It's been totally worth the wait, I think. What with it being like one of my most anticipated games of the year, it's definitely been worth the wait for me, I think. Apart from that, I've just been continuing with Brawlhalla because that game has consumed my life.
Yeah, you've been doing some pretty cool streams with that, some nice videos. You're looking pretty good with Nyx now.
Yeah, it's taken some time. I'm better now with Nyx than my most recent YouTube video would belie. Once I start uploading the ones from my second or third streams, you'll start to see like a rapid improvement. It's because I've just got into the mindset of thinking this is Smash, just without some bits and with some additional bits. Like if I think of this as Smash, all of the kind of basics are already there because I've already been doing them for years. But yeah, once getting into that mindset of realizing this isn't a new game really to me in terms of mechanics, I ended up rapidly improving over a very short space of time.
Cool. Going back a little bit to the topic of Xenoblade Chronicles, I watched a video from Game Explain where the guy who was doing a bit of a preview had played 25 hours of the game up until now. And he says that the game kind of starts a little slow, but once it picks up, like both from story perspective and from world perspective and from combat perspective, once it all picks up, it's really, really awesome. So would that be your the same assessment you would make?
I didn't really have an issue with it being slow to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nowhere near as slow as Xenoblade X was when it started, which is a market improvement. It's I don't know. I guess it depends on how quickly you want your games to start. I guess. I mean, all JRPGs were a bit of a slow burner at the beginning.
Yeah.
The only exception I can think of really is Final Fantasy VII, which kind of literally just throws you straight in. Most of them are quite slow to start. So yeah, I'm not sure whether I necessarily agree with what the Game Explain guy said about that.
Yeah, I think it was more like addressing like some concerns of what the game would be like compared to its predecessors. Like mostly when he says slow, I guess he said something along the lines of the in the beginning it's a little linear, like the world is very linear, but then once you're tossed out into the open world, it's a true open world where you turn around and there's things to do in every corner and stuff like that.
Yeah, I found that very quickly on very soon on in the game though.
Okay.
In terms of just having a massive amount to do. It didn't take long for me to reach that point.
All right, pretty awesome stuff. Cool, can't wait. I mean, December 1st is right around the corner, so yeah.
Yes,
soon.
A week away.
A week away, not even. Very long at all. Like it's Friday.
Have you? No, well, yeah, Friday. Look, wow. Okay, November's gone quicker than I expected. Have you been playing anything new in the last week?
Of course, I've been diving into Mario Odyssey, and actually, as of right now, I've finished the main story. And yeah, I'm gonna start working on the end game because I want to play Xenoblade when it comes out, and I need to finish the game I have now before I move on to the next one.
Good luck with some of those
And
moons. Is all I can
oh,
say. Good luck with some of those moons. They are such a challenge.
my worst ones are the ones where you like you pick up the little musical notes where you have to pick up the musical notes, and those sometimes frustrate me a lot. I hate these quick little timer things where it's ticking down very audibly. Not my
They're
favorite. Not
fun
my
though.
favorite moons. Yeah, some of them are pretty fun, especially when they give you a speed, a speed boost, and you have to like do it like really fast. Yeah, those are pretty cool. But it kind of irks me when there's like this audible tick tock, tick tock.
Quite a lot of the moons actually involve a momentary timer. Actually, now I think about it.
Yeah, yeah. And there's this one particular one that I tried to do a bunch of times, but I couldn't. It's the one where you have to walk in a circle, but you can't see the trail.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those are really hard. Um, but they're really fun. Like once you nail it, it's so satisfying. Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah, I
true.
know the ones you mean.
Well, I
Um,
did that first one in the first world. What was that first or second world was it? I forget. It's not the one with the T-Rex. The next one, the one with
that
the one that's kind of like
yeah,
you're in Mexico or something in a desert.
the Sand Kingdom.
The Sand Kingdom. Yeah, yeah, the Sand Kingdom. And it's like I tried it like 10 times, and I kept getting a little closer and a little closer. At some point, I overshoot it, then I undershoot it. It's like what the hell? And then I just gave up. I'm gonna do this in the end game.
No, I just with those ones, I kept finding that when it showed me my progress afterwards, I'd be fine for about half the circle, and then I'd just drop straight down. I'd like do a half circle every single time.
Oh
Um,
God.
because I'd just completely like the moment the path disappeared, I'd completely lose my way. Um, but once you do get those right, it's really, really satisfying.
Can't wait. I need to spend time, like focus time, just on that in order to happen for me, because then it's just not gonna work. But overall, I have to say Mario is an amazing game. The wait has definitely been worth it. Definitely been worth it. This is an
I second that.
incredible game.
I completely second that.
And I think it's very intelligently put together in a very nice way. It showcases the majority of the features of the Switch, if not all of them. There are some really intelligent ways they're using the rumble, the 3D rumble, whatever it's called, the
Mm,
HD rumble,
that's it.
uh, the motion controls. I like absolutely love the Bowser fights. And I'm not gonna spoil how that works, but definitely some very, very nice, satisfying motion control action there as well. And of course, I mean, with all of that stuff that you have to do to get the moons and all that, those are like little bites, little things that you can do on the go as well. So yeah, I guess overall, generally, Mario is an incredible showcase of just what the Switch can do overall.
Yep, I'd agree with that. And going back to what you were saying about the moons, like Mario Odyssey is a game that you can pick up for like half an hour, find like 6 or 7 moons, and then put it back down again. There's always something to do, no matter how many times you pick it up.
Yep, indeed, that's true. Uh, Moving on now to the news that unfortunately we're not going to have a big discussion this week because nothing really big has happened. But we will have something really big during probably in a couple of weeks' time when we're going to have the PlayStation Experience.
Oh yes. Oh, looking forward to that.
That's going to be big. I mean, I
Mm.
hope it's really as big as we're expecting it to be because already Sony dropped a lot of stuff at Paris Games.
Oh yeah, that's very true, including new game announcements and everything.
Yeah. But it makes you wonder, maybe they have a bunch of other big stuff and they just don't want all of it crammed in one place. So yeah, there's hope for that. But the list of developers is massive that's going to be at PlayStation Experience, so there's bound to be something really interesting going on besides Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, of course.
which we're looking forward to regardless, you and
Oh
I.
yeah, of course, yeah. We might even get Dillips back on the show once we have some more information on that.
Or bring him back when Arcade Edition releases.
We could do that as well. We'll bring him back a bunch of times if we
Yeah,
have
just
to.
bring him. Just keep bringing him
We'll
back.
just keep bringing. We'll
People
just
love
make him
him.
a regular over here. Just keep telling us how awesome Street Fighter V is. Right. So let's kick it off with controversies because, as usual, this always happens with the gaming industry, and the Lootbox saga continues. EA, we just can't leave you alone. Although, to be fair, this isn't directly related to EA. It's not like EA did something bad. It's more like the UK Gambling Commission has made a declaration recently that, yeah, we looked into loot boxes, but they don't really fit our definition of gambling. So yeah, they're not gambling. That's what the UK Gambling Commission says. And this contrasts with what the Belgium Gambling Commission has said, that they believe that it's loot boxes and that loot boxes are gambling and they want to look into it.
And not only that, but the Australian government have done the same thing.
Yeah.
As the Belgian government. They've said that these are gambling, which by actual dictionary definition, they are. So I don't know what definition the UK Gambling Commission has, but it clearly deviates from the dictionary definition. Otherwise, they would have no issue in making the link.
They said specifically that it had something to do with the fact that you're not buying physical goods. You're not paying like for something physical, so it doesn't really fit that model. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is they're thinking here, because it is money that's going somewhere, and there is a high chance you're not going to get anything like of value. At the very least, you're always going to get something, but it could be trash. I'm going to pull up an article here to see like exactly what was their wording. There it is. Yeah. Keep going.
I was going to say, weren't they saying that the reason why why they don't agree with that it is gambling is because you can't cash out? Isn't that the terminology they used? Which is ludicrous, because you can with FIFA, because you can cash out on third-party websites and sell the things you get for loot boxes for money. So you can cash out, and they clearly haven't done their research, which UK government, not overly surprised, but they are gambling. Like loot boxes are definitely gambling, and it appears the UK Gambling Commission seem to be at the moment one of the only commissions that are not seeing it that way.
Well, them and the SRB, but the SRB is practically the entertainment industry, so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got particular things in mind to protect. So,
but we do have another guy over across the pond, as you would say, where the over at Hawaii, actually way across the pond, I would say. There's a Hawaiian representative who basically wants to completely ban or limit the use of loot boxes in games, because, as he says, loot boxes is a predatory practice.
Yep, so, couldn't agree with him more.
Yep, I wouldn't disagree with him either. Although, to be fair, I mean, from his position, it's really hard to see anything substantial come out. But it's great that there are more officials from different countries chiming in, and I think that's where the significance of this comes, is that there are people who are actually out there in some relative positions of power who are willing to say, "Hey, we stand by the consumer."
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as state representative for Hawaii, he's in a fairly good position to make it a state legislation. Obviously, it would require a significant push for it to be a national, be seen on a federal level. But it's still a really good thing that we have, as you say, we've got people in a position of power who are standing on the side of the consumer and trying to protect the people that these sorts of practices will particularly target. I mean, the thing is, I mean, the thing that he's aiming for, the thing that he wants is, I mean, the ultimate goal is to restrict gambling elements being in games, full stop. But the kind of the short term goal is making it so that these sorts of games are only, well, he wants to prohibit the sale of them to under 21, those under 21, which that's a great start, but that would soon, once again, get the ire of Disney against EA, because that's the Star Wars license is quite a young license.
Yes.
So the fan base would be quite young. So if the game is restricted to 21 and over, that's a rather large proportion that won't technically legally be able to get the game, which Disney won't be happy with that.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because there have been like lots of conversations on this. There are some people who feel that the argument that we have to safeguard children is ridiculous, because parents shouldn't allow their kids to play such games or use credit cards or all of that stuff. And then but the other side of the argument is like, okay, but Star Wars is a kids-oriented IP. So what's the deal here? I mean, okay, sure, maybe it's fine for a game like CS:GO to have some kind of gambling element to it. I don't know. Maybe. Because, I mean, adults need to make their own decisions. But what about IPs that are catered to children? Should they still contain them, even though they have parents that give parental guidance?
I mean, let's be honest. If it does come to it that a child does fall prey to this sort of practices, it's the blame on that is against quite a large group of different people. So obviously the parents, the developers for putting it in a game that's targeted at children, the industry for allowing this practice to continue and grow even, and obviously the publisher, because the publisher is usually the one that pushes for this thing to actually exist. I mean, look at the creator of Plants vs. Zombies being fired from PopCap/EA because he didn't want microtransactions in Plants vs. Zombies 2. It's the publisher for the most part that ends up driving this sort of thing being in it, which is why my blame for the loot boxes on Battlefront 2 lies with EA, not with DICE.
No, DICE just wanted to make a game, right? I mean, for sure, let's be fair. I mean, every developer wants to see their game be profitable because they profit from it, and that means they can make other games down the line. But I would hazard a guess that if a developer really has a choice between one thing or another, and especially when it has to do with the gameplay elements, I think that it's very much easier for a developer to see the side of the player, how they feel about gameplay elements being pay to win, compared to the publisher.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because the developer will generally want to develop a good game, whereas the publisher will predominantly want to make money. I mean, the developer obviously wants to make money too, but it falls more on the publisher in terms of that desire for profit. But the thing is, and I think it's actually Jim Sterling that made this point. We bring him up a lot. And that's the point that if EA thought for even a second that a game that had the Star Wars license wasn't going to make its money back, even without microtransactions, loot boxes, DLC, all of that, they're insane. A Star Wars game will almost invariably always make back the money you put into it. Because it's Star Wars. It's always going to sell. So for them to have gone whole hog in putting every other means of getting additional funding is just greed, really.
Exactly. And it's not that they don't know this. I mean, they plastered Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in our faces all throughout the marketing of this game. And then they tell you, oops, you either have to grind a lot to get them or you need to pay money. And hey, I mean, I'm very dumbfounded by this, and I'm glad that you brought this up as well, because it is Star Wars. People want to play Star Wars, especially kids, because now Star Wars is all the rage. We're fast approaching to the release date of the Last Jedi, the next movie in the saga, and everybody's super excited. And you do this? Really? I would have accepted a season pass at a reasonable price. But come the frick on right now, EA.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, they better not mess with Titanfall 3. They better not mess with Titanfall 3, or else I'm going to be very upset. Not that I'm not already. I'm very upset in general.
I must admit, I wouldn't give them too much of a credit on that one.
No.
If we are very lucky, which I really hope for, because it does deserve it, I really hope that EA do not mess too much with Titanfall 3. Leave them messing for the next game.
Yes.
The next game the dev make. I mean, I doubt it. I very much doubt it, unfortunately. But if they just leave them to get on with Titanfall 3, and then they can screw up the next game the dev make, for all I care. But Titanfall is not a series I've played, but I think it deserves to be left alone by EA.
It deserves to be left alone. And not just that, I think Respawn in general deserves to be left alone, because they have a really, really good development team that makes some really, really cool stuff. I mean, Titanfall 2, they sank a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in a game that really didn't sell that well. And that says something about a developer that stands by their product. And I can applaud this kind of behavior. The other thing that really bothers me about, like, this whole idea that EA is like this unicronic entity that comes around and devours everybody and spits them out when they're no longer of use to it. The thing is, why do you buy a studio? Don't you buy it because they are capable of making some solid products on their own? Why do you interfere? You buy them because they can do amazing things. Not because you can make them do amazing things. They make them on their own. Buy them, but leave them alone. Let them do their thing. And you will profit. It is nearly guaranteed. I mean, all of these studios that have been shut down in their wake could have made EA lots of money to this day.
Yep. Then again, a lot of companies do this. I mean, look at Microsoft and Rare. Rare have not been able to achieve their potential since being bought by Microsoft. Until, I'm going to hold out opinion on it, but until Sea of Thieves, which looks to be a return to form for Rare. But until that, they put them on the Connect Animals games, for Pete's sake. It's Rare.
Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Yeah.
Dumbfounded, to say the least.
Yeah, I am completely dumbfounded. More companies should take the standpoint that Nintendo have, to be fair, where they minimally interfere with the games that are being made by kind of second-party developers. That's why games like Xenoblade Chronicles and games like Bayonetta 2 are such departures from the normal Nintendo setup, because Nintendo just let them get on. Obviously, occasionally having input, because Shigeru Miyamoto has to interfere with everything. That's just his way. But it's minimal, and you can tell by the end results of the games. But a lot of developers aren't keen to copy Nintendo's good practices, which is weird.
That's until Nintendo is on top, which has been some people's predictions right now. There have been some analysts saying that, that if Nintendo manages to be on top, there's a huge possibility that Nintendo could be on top next year if the Switch continues to sell the way it's selling right now. And I don't see why it wouldn't. It's innovative. It's delivering on a lot of fronts and a lot of things that gamers actually want.
Mm.
And of course, we're getting some really good high numbers on first-party titles. There's really no stopping this hype train called Nintendo right now. I'm
Yeah.
banking on a really strong 2018 for them.
Well, the Switch is going into 2018 really strong.
Yes,
Like the library of games it has going into 2018 is very expansive for a game for a console that's not even been out a year.
that's true.
It's had possibly one of the best first years of a console I think I've ever seen. Um, just because it's been a big game a month, like constantly for the whole year. If they keep that going, then I see no reason why the Switch won't come out very much on top.
Next year for sure. But I will have to say that I do echo what some people are saying is that whatever Pokemon game they're making for Switch next year, it has to knock it out of the park.
Mm. But
And,
if it does, the Switch, we will quite literally see the Switch's unit sales go up
oh, by mile,
dramatically.
dramatically. Yes, yes. Although there are talks that it's not exactly gonna be exactly like other like mainline Pokemon games, which could be worrisome on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like it's the Switch, it's a different device. So let's
Mm.
see what happens because they definitely have shown that they understand the device they've created. We can see that with all of these titles right now. So I'm pretty sure they've got something in mind when it comes to the Pokemon franchise. I wouldn't want an exact copy paste of what a classic Pokemon game looks like. I want to see something innovative now.
An
Something
evolution.
a little better. An evolution, yes. I want to see something
Which is topical considering it's Pokemon.
exactly. So let's get some evolution in them Pokemons, okay? All right. Let's dive into the news now. And yeah, I'll let you take this first one away.
Yep, continuing along the lines of the Switch, where obviously we've seen a massive, uh, sharp increase in third-party developers supporting the Switch. And that's set to continue into 2018 with Valkyria Chronicles 4, which has been confirmed by Sega, I believe, are the publishers. And it's been confirmed for Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. So that's incredible because the Valkyria Chronicles games, essentially anime World War II turn-based strategy, essentially. It's an incredible feat it's an incredible kind of boon for the Switch to have such a unique niche title on it. Because I would actually argue Valkyria Chronicles, the way that the game is set up with its whole turn-based strategy setup is actually perfect for on the go. So it coming to the Switch is an absolutely genius masterstroke idea. In fact, that will be what I get it on, I think, because I will get Valkyria Chronicles 4, but it will be on Switch because I will just enjoy the ability to be able to participate in these long-winded, which isn't a bad thing, by the way, long-winded in the positive way, in that they are drawn out, but drawn out in a challenging way, not drawn out in a boring way. Strategic battles using infantry and tanks and stuff. It's essentially sort of Advance Wars, but a lot prettier and 3D, which sounds great actually putting it that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Advance Wars needs to come back. Now that I've said it out loud, it needs to come back.
I agree. Advance Wars needs to come back. Get on that, Nintendo. I do have something to point out here, though. I know I haven't played the Valkyria series, to my to my detriment. But yes, I know that 1 and 2 were localized, but 3 was never localized. Is that correct?
I believe you're right. Yes.
So what the heck why are they bringing out 4 fully localized? I mean, that's what they've led to believe, that it's gonna be brought to the West as well. Why are they bringing that and they haven't brought 3 yet? That's kind of strange.
Well, it happens a lot with Japanese titles, with Japanese developed titles, unfortunately. I mean, we saw it with Dragon Quest as well.
Yes.
Dragon Quest here seems to have. I mean, there's still no actual confirmation that 11's coming here, but we could almost guarantee at this point 10 isn't. We had 9. 10 came out in Japan years ago. and now 11 is either due to come out or is out already out, but not too long ago in Japan. But 11 stands more chance of coming here now than 10 does. And also look at Final Fantasy, for instance. Final Fantasy 6 in Japan was Final Fantasy 3 in America.
Oh yeah, that was a whole different
Yeah, but that unfortunately this happens where just I don't know. I'm assuming it's to do with sales figures. They just see the sales figure. They probably saw the sales figures of Chronicles 1 and 2 and just thought, okay, no, that doesn't work for us. But then obviously with the Switch, which has a worldwide appeal, they saw a good reason to release 4 worldwide again. It's strange, yes, but it's not entirely unheard of.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've what's it called? The Monster Hunter Double Cross never got localized, even though it was recently ported to the Switch as well. They're just going directly out. We're giving you Monster Hunter World, so be happy, I guess. But that's also Capcom, so it could be Capcom things. But yeah, Japanese developers, right? But Capcom still, exciting news. Capcom things, yeah. If I titled these videos like that, that would be the title. Yes, but yeah, exciting stuff. Valkyria Chronicles coming to the Switch might be an opportunity for me to get into the series as well. I've been hearing great things.
I hope you do, because if they introduce a kind of multiplayer option, that would be a really fun game to play.
Oh, that
with
would
other
be
people.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And some stuff now to talk about some stuff that's fun for some people. I mean, continuing in its tradition, Street Fighter V continues to update with lots and lots of content, particularly costumes, especially for Street Fighter V's resident Barbie doll, Chun-Li, who's getting not 1, not 2, but 3 new costumes. She's getting a Nostalgia costume, which this one I'm quite excited about because it's her Street Fighter Alpha outfit.
And it looks incredible.
It looks really, really good, I have to admit. There's also that train. There's also this, like, all 3 of the costumes look amazing. I'm not going to disagree here at all. I mean, she's got this SWAT team outfit as well that's looking pretty badass. Makes her look a little chunkier than she already is, but yeah, them thighs. And of course that, the one that I'm really jonesing for is this training mode, this training outfit that she has where she's got these thigh-high socks on, which just drives me bananas. Just to, put that out there for everybody to know. Yeah. But we're also getting some holiday-themed outfits for several characters. I think Alex is getting a holiday-themed outfit, and so is Colleen.
He is.
Yeah. Colleen is getting like this ice... And Minot. Yeah, and Minot, yeah. I think there's one more that I'm forgetting. But yeah, more holiday costumes. Cammy! Oh, she didn't have a holiday costume previously? Oh, cool. Okay.
No, and also it's also her holiday costume is very, very cute because it's got little cat ears.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes, yep. So some good stuff for Street Fighter V coming out by way of costumes and stuff, which is, pretty good. I mean, but yeah, we're all just waiting right now for this more substantial update in Arcade Edition. And MvCi. Oh, by the way, there was also that V-Trigger trailer. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Some of the new V-Triggers look very, very fun. I like Ed's. Ed's looks really fun. Yeah, so does Bison's, actually, for some reason.
Bison's is very interesting because they just put it up in the beginning, and then later they started, like, dividing them into combo extenders and adding new moves to characters. But Bison seemed to, like, be a beast of its own. It looks like he gets access to moves, including Psycho Crusher, and I think he has this one thing where he infuses. It's like a command grab where he infuses the opponent with Psycho Power, and then he can detonate him. It's kind of strange, but it looks pretty badass. I'm quite excited for that. Mika's, oh god, the chair.
So much, because the thing is, it looks like she can hit them with the chair 3 times before the chair breaks.
Yeah, she kind of swings it a few times, right? It's
Mm,
pretty dope. Yeah, and it leads to mix-ups, which is what Mika wants to do, actually.
yeah.
And that's what you want to see. Nash is getting something like a combo extender as well. Guile, instead of like powering up his fists, he powers up his feet, and he can do multiple flash kicks. I think it
Yeah,
was.
which looked really cool too.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. Really, really cool. Minot's was the one that kind of underwhelmed me, but that's probably because I don't understand it. It's like her original V trigger, but she can shoot all the balls at the same time. I don't know why.
To me, that if I'm not mistaken, which I might be, I don't know Minot particularly well either. Um, the new V trigger is more damage focused rather than combo extend focused. Because the previous V trigger it was very good for extending combos and also for mix ups and stuff, but wasn't very good damage potential. Whereas it looks like with the new one, because she's firing all the balls at a single time, it will be a higher damage potential trigger, perhaps.
That's a fair way to look at it. Yeah. Hopefully it's something interesting because everybody else seems to be getting something interesting, something
Mm.
different than their original V trigger. So we'll have to see. And that's not the only Capcom game that's getting new stuff. Three characters have been announced for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Black Widow, who looks kind of cool. Okay, I'll give them that. Winter Soldier, who looks basically like Marvel's Chris Redfield in his design, at
Yeah,
least. Like,
pretty
yeah,
much. Yeah.
yeah, kind of. And Venom, who Venom has, like, yeah, I don't know, his voice is weirding me out. I don't know why. It's like they've been trying to
I
go
mean,
for like creepy voice acting, but in a very bad way.
I must admit, Venom though, like in motion, like animation wise, is possibly one of the best looking characters in Infinite.
Oh yeah,
They've put
no
a lot
doubt.
of time into his movement and his animation, and he actually looks quite good. Which I can't imagine how weird it's going to look in a game that looks as, shall we say, inconsistent as Infinite. How a character that's that well designed is going to look in a game that's not quite well designed all the time.
It's that, and that's gonna be the problem with this game is that they're gonna make like a lot of these new. I mean, even if you look at Monster Hunter looks pretty good as well. All of the
Oh yeah,
DLC
true. Yeah.
characters, save for Buzz Lightyear Sigma, look really, really badass. They look really well made. I mean, Black Widow looks great. Winter Soldier looks great as well. All of these newer characters look great, and then you put them next to Chun-Li. You put them next to Dante, and it's like night
Mm.
and day. It's ridiculous.
I love the fact that with Dante, the DLC costume to make him DMC Devil May Cry Dante actually looks better than the original Dante they put in.
Which is the worst thing ever because that's the worst Dante to have. But yeah.
Well, it's the least liked Dante, definitely. So that's I find that wonderful.
Yeah,
I shouldn't. That's Schadenfreude. Like that is literally best, but I find it hilarious.
it's yeah, it is a hilarious situation. But yeah, there you have it. MvCi and Street Fighter V getting updated one way or another.
And from paid updates, which I'm assuming they are paid updates, aren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
of course.
course they're paid updates. To a colossal free update to Splatoon 2. Um, I could probably fill an hour podcast just with the updates. It's extensive. What they're doing to Splatoon 2 is incredible. I mean, just to reel off a few, we've got new hairstyles for the squids, new a couple of new trousers, I believe, for the squids. So you can now have like long sort of leggings is one of them. Um, they've increased the level cap from 50 to 99, and also if you exceed 99, you go back to you've got the choice to go back to level 1, but you'll be star 1 and basically just allowed to level again. So you'll revert back to star 1 and then you can go up again. So and that's in ad infinitum as well. So if you reach star 99, you can go back to star 1 again and just keep going. So there's
Is there
no
some
kind
kind
of
of benefit to
stagnation.
that?
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, it will mean that, and this is one issue I had with the original Splatoon. It won't reach a kind of stagnation period where you've kind of maxed out all of your kind of levels, and then there's nothing else you can really do. They've clearly attributed for that, so you can still continue to gain levels even after you've reached the maximum. Which is good, because otherwise sometimes it can feel like, okay, I've reached this point, I'll stop now. But now you can just keep going, which is great. They have finally changed it so you can change your loadouts between matches online. Why it's taken 2 games, and one of those games, the latter one, being several months into its tenure before they've acknowledged that issue is beyond me, but I'm so glad they have. Because there was just too many circumstances where that you would go in with a certain loadout and you'd get completely mullered, but you'd have to leave the lobby entirely, change your loadout, and then come back in. Whereas now the ability to change the loadout between matches will make that just so much easier. I just don't believe it wasn't in it before. And there's a new mode incoming, which is the most interesting bit, I think, of the entire update. Which does look really fun. It's I can't remember what its name is off the top of my head, but it's all centered around little gold clams. So you collect little gold clams, and if you shoot an opponent squid, you can steal their gold clams, and then the team at the end who has the most gold clams wins. But that just, to me, appears like a far more frenetic and enjoyable multiplayer experience than, say, Turf War, where it's just covering the place in ink. There will actually be a legitimate reason, rather than just being a troll, for killing other squids.
That sounds a bit like Kill Confirmed from COD, or what's it, or what we have in Destiny as well, with the emblem type mode, where you have to. It's not the kill that matters, but picking up the thing that they drop that counts towards your score.
Yeah, same thing. And then obviously with the update, there's all of the weapon rebalancing and loadout rebalancing and all of that sort of thing. It's staggering to me and genuinely impressive to me that Nintendo are doing all of these updates to Splatoon for free.
I think it's incredible.
In the age that we live in. It's incredible, yeah, but in the age that we live in, I am so pleased that Nintendo are still up, and it's the same with ARMS as well, just updating these games for free.
And that's the thing, is that these are their dedicated multiplayer games that they're updating for free, and I'm stressing this because it's usually the multiplayer games that are asking for for you to pay for more stuff, right? But it seems like Nintendo is taking a bit of a different approach. It's more like Breath of the Wild and Fire Emblem Warriors both have like season passes, which are quite substantial. Although, to be fair, on Breath of the Wild, having the hard mode in locked behind a paywall is a bit of a crappy thing to do, but okay. But yeah, take that dig as you will. The Fire Emblem Warriors season pass is definitely worth it with all of the content that it gets in it. But these games, on the other hand, that are dedicated multiplayer games, they're just like, here, have everything for free. And that's incredible. That's just great, especially with ARMS, where it's like characters, in an age where we're seeing fighting games giving you characters that you have to pay for or grind for.
I mean, the thing is with ARMS, you're not just getting characters, you're getting new arms as well.
Yes.
So with every new character, like, you've got the gameplay is entirely shaken up again. And also, lest we forget as well, with Breath of the Wild and Fire Emblem Warriors, there's still free updates as well.
Oh yeah, they still add some new stuff, yes.
Yeah, so Nintendo are definitely doing DLC right. Definitely.
What about Xenoblade? Does that have like some kind of a season pass update thing, whatever, as far as we know?
It has an expansion pass.
It has an expansion pass. Okay. Right.
Mm.
All right.
Which is a season pass, essentially, just with a slightly more fruity name.
Yeah. Do we have any information on that, or is that like completely hush hush right
No, there's
now?
quite a lot of stuff. We covered that during the Weekly Gaming Blast when I think it was episode 15, in
Oh,
which
yeah.
we covered Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yeah, because it was during the Xenoblade Direct they announced what was in the expansion pass, but it's like story content, rare blades to
Yeah,
find.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, just so there's quite a lot in the expansion pass. So I'm definitely going to be picking that up.
Yeah. But there you have it. I mean, there's Nintendo telling you like this is how it's done. I mean, even if they're doing a season pass, it's a season pass. It's not loot boxes. So yeah, take notes,
Mm.
some of you out there, right? Yeah. Well, we're gonna go a little bit out there as well, and we're just gonna travel all the way to the Far East in China, where PUBG is just as popular, maybe even more popular. But here's the thing: PUBG doesn't exactly follow, the good ideals of a socialist country like China. So China wants to block the game. Luckily, they have a powerhouse like Tencent to actually buy the rights to the game. And what Tencent has said is like, we're going to adjust the game so that it meets the requirements of the Chinese government. Yay. So PUBG with squirt guns. Get ready, everybody.
I don't think I have anything good to say about this.
What can be said, man?
Yeah, there is that too. Um, I'm not exactly pro censorship. So yeah, there's not exactly anything. There's not really any. I can't really contribute anything that's not going to be very politically charged, basically. But yeah, I don't agree with this. I would much rather China ban PUBG than it be heavily censored.
I think I think the fans might want the same thing as well. But to be fair, I mean, the fans didn't really stop playing World of Warcraft when it finally was like re-released in China. No, actually re-released. The problem with World of Warcraft in China was it took them a very long time to get Wrath of the Lich King, the expansion. And the problem with that was that there were two government bodies battling over some kind of regulation surrounding the game, the expansion, because it contained a lot of skeletons and undead and lots of themes like that, which for one reason or another were considered unkosher, not kosher. So they had to change the entire aesthetic of a lot of the NPCs and the mobs and stuff, so to change the game completely. And that's when finally the people of China, the good people of China, were able to play Wrath of the Lich King. But they stuck by it, even though with the changes. So I don't know. Maybe they might enjoy playing PUBG with squirt guns. Because I don't know how you would turn a game like that into a socialist-approved game that follows a certain ideal or whatever. I don't get this.
Yeah, because it does appear that PUBG is very much designed without those fundamental motivations. So, I'm not sure. I'll hold out judgment, obviously. I usually do, but yeah, I don't exactly have much good to say about that as a topic. Nothing, very rarely anything positive about censorship.
No, there's nothing positive about it. Well, but you know what? Thank God, at least the good fans of the game in China will be able to enjoy it again, even if it is a bit censored. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of a win for them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's good. I've always been of the standpoint that the more people that can play a game, the better.
Yeah, obviously.
And speaking of being able, like more people being able to play a game, a very, very interesting piece of news came out that Bethesda, I believe, it is Bethesda, are allowing the first level of Wolfenstein: The New Colossus to be free to play, which is absolute genius from Bethesda, because they've allowed, obviously they've got the mechanics set up in it so that you can transfer your save data over it if you were to buy the full game. But being able to play the first level of Wolfenstein: The New Colossus will give you a very good idea as to whether you want to buy it in the first place or not. And it functions in a very similar way to a demo.
Yeah.
Which I believe, I would have thought a game like Wolfenstein, a demo would be very, very useful, just to get an idea of how the game will work for you. Because I can't imagine that everyone would be into that sort of game.
That is true. And I think it's a genius idea, because you finish the first level and then it kind of drives you to want to be like, oh, I want to do the next one. So it kind of drives you to go and buy it. If you like really felt it, it could give you that little push that, justifies the purchase at that moment. And that could be very good for both Bethesda and for consumers as well. I'd like to see more of this as a demo. I know that some publishers, they do a very specific demo, like a specific part of the game that they want to showcase. But I think the first level, it's kind of like those first few pages of a book, right? Which are the ones that need to hook you. So if they are that confident about the first level of Wolfenstein 2, then that's definitely a really good move on their part.
Yeah. Plus, also, I don't know whether you find this too, but I find when I play demos, like specifically when I play demos at sort of events and conventions and things, I do find that, because obviously if you play the game from the beginning, it teaches you the mechanics as you go, and it slowly kind of ingratiates itself to your presence, basically, and allows you to learn the mechanics in a slightly easier way. I find that demos can more often than not put me off getting a game. Whereas if I play a game from the beginning, there's that opportunity for it to hook me better. I mean, I absolutely hated The Evil Within when I played it at a convention. It turned out I hated it when I played the full game too, but I think that's beside the point. But playing The Evil Within from the beginning was a lot more forgiving than playing it from a midpoint, which is what the demo chose to be. Whereas, as you say, and is completely right, giving the first level is a perfect opportunity for the game to hook you properly.
Right, because that's the design of the first levels. It's designed to like get you into that world and hook you. Whereas a demo is more like we've cherry-picked a location or a certain part of a game because it showcases something that we want you to see. And that could sometimes be a good thing, or it sometimes could be like your case with The Evil Within, that is just like, it didn't really do it for me. But then on the other hand, I like genius demos like the one we got for Project Octopath.
Yes.
Or like generally the ones that Square Enix did with Bravely Default. I thought both those demos were incredible, were an amazing idea because they tied into the main game.
Yeah, the Bravely Second demo was possibly my favorite one.
That was really good.
Because that set you up for the main game without ruining anything from the main game, and I thought that was genius. By essentially making the demo a prologue to the main game, which I thought was genius.
Yeah, indeed.
There needs to be a Bravely Third. Bravely Third, come on, Square.
On Switch.
Yes.
On Switch. Well, Octopath kind of feels a little bit like it's a bit of a marriage between Bravely Default and the Final Fantasy series in a certain way. And then it also has its own thing where you're just playing like these 8 individual stories. So I don't know. It's exciting. I really want to see that game. I loved the demo so much. And I want to see more demos like that from everybody, actually, if they're willing to put in the time. Well, and we're talking about time here, and we're really blazing through these, and we're reaching we might actually, make it to below an hour. No, not really. But anyway, that doesn't really matter because it seems like there's a publisher out there amongst the sea of all of these negativity with loot box and stuff. There's a publisher that is actually warming our hearts right now because the publisher of Axiom Verge has been donating this whole time this 75% of its share of profits of the game to the developer's son's medical bills. And this is not something that they wanted to bring out into the limelight from the start, because they didn't want people to feel like we're saying this because we want you to go and buy the game. This came out like way later, but it's been happening this whole time. I was really touched by this story. I mean, I thought it was just like amazing amongst all of this negativity going on.
Yeah, it's good to see that there are developers out there which are still doing the right thing. Whatever they believe the right thing is, I'm glad that there's at least one developer doing entirely the right thing. And Axiom Verge's developer are doing exactly that.
And it's a good game from what I understand. It's a Metroidvania. I definitely want to pick it up, and I was gonna pick it up before I heard this, but it's definitely another reason to do so, because I always like to support positive action, and this is definitely by far the most positive thing I've heard all year, to be honest with you.
Yep, agreed with you. I mean, it does help, as you've hinted upon. It does help that it is a game that is very well praised as a game itself. Anyway, a lot of people rave about Axiom Verge and how good it is as a game, and so therefore the fact that a lot of people have bought it already, that's a testament to the game, and I'm glad that they very evidently knew what they were talking about when it comes to not wanting to make it appear that they were kind of guilt tripping the purchaser. So basically, a lot of people have bought the game, loved the game, have raved about the game, and now found out it actually had a kind of good ulterior motive behind its sales as well, which is just an additional sort of heartwarming thing to go with the already massive success of the game.
Yeah, absolutely agree, and I want to hear more stories like this. And it's also even better that it's an indie developer here. We're talking about an indie game, and we're hearing all of this negativity coming out of the big publishers, and bam, right in your face. Here's the indie side of things, telling you once more that, hey, there's still hope out there.
Yeah. Well, of course there's still going to be hope out there. For every bad, there's always a good, isn't there? That's the way it always works. Hold on one moment. I need to get my laptop charger.
Yep, so, go ahead.
Pause it where we are. Trust me, I already know the segue. Okay, 3, 2, 1. And speaking of where there is light, there is always dark. Bethesda, I think you have stepped a bit too far into the dark, unfortunately. Skyrim VR hasn't exactly been as well received as they could have hoped, it seems. The general consensus is that exploring Skyrim in VR is like visually impressive, but the gameplay is severely suffers because of it. I could have told them that before they made it. Skyrim's gameplay isn't exactly fantastic. Sorry, Skyrim fans. Anyway, the moment you put that into VR, it's gonna suffer because VR, your visual and audio, like the audio visual experience of VR is fantastic, but of course the gameplay is going to suffer because of it. The gameplay needs to be incredibly simple for VR to work as well as it is wanted to, which is why games like Alien Isolation worked so well in VR, because the gameplay itself, if you strip it down, is actually relatively simple. It's hide from alien. When alien go away, come out of hiding, progress. That's essentially the whole of Alien Isolation. Well, until the stupid shooty bang bang bits at the end. But that worked. That worked with VR. And Resident Evil 7, it's the same because it's mostly problem solving and puzzle solving with minimal sort of combat scenarios. So that works in VR. There's too many combat scenarios in Skyrim for that to work. For that to work coherently anyway and make it an enjoyable experience. And the reviews are reflecting that quite significantly.
Yeah, like you said, the general consensus has been that basically to, like, you know, escalate this a little bit is that in VR is the best way to experience the world of Skyrim. The best way to experience that whole massive world. Like, if you just want to go out there and just explore, in VR is the best way to do it right now. But all of the other things, like you've mentioned, are absolutely horrible. The mechanics, like the combat doesn't work very well. The whole teleporting, because you're using the move controllers, the whole teleporting thing is completely unimmersive. It just takes you away from the entire experience. It was just, I don't know. I had high hopes for this, Ruben, but it turns out, no, it's not going to work out after all. And that's the main problem with it is, like you said, I mean, Skyrim already, like, while it's been highly praised, it still had its problems. And those problems are definitely visible in this iteration as well. But the other problem is that the damn game hasn't been built for VR. And I mean, it's great that they're trying to bring games that are like AAA games into VR, but this is not the way to do it. Resident Evil 7 showed you how to do it. That's how you do it. You build the game so that it works both in VR and with a normal controller.
Yeah, but the problem is, as you've already pretty much covered, Skyrim wasn't made for that. I'll be interested to see the final kind of set of reviews for Final Fantasy Fishing Simulator as well, because that kind of fits in with what I was saying earlier with having a simplistic gameplay model with VR is a good way to go. But it's just such a shame because a lot of people were really looking forward to Skyrim VR, and it does give a slight worry for a lot of people when it comes to Doom VR as well.
Yes, me too. Although Doom is relatively simpler compared to Skyrim, so maybe it might work. I don't know. But then again, that's probably going to play better with a controller, which again will be like, how is this going to work out, you know?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I have a lot more faith in Doom VR, like you've already said, than Skyrim VR. But it does make me worry if this is how Bethesda are approaching VR.
Yeah, indeed. Well, anyway, they're trying. I mean, that's always one thing, and it's always good to hear that somebody's trying when it comes to VR. I don't want to see this technology die. I feel like this could be like we could get like really huge leaps in the industry by pushing VR more, but we need to do it in smarter ways, I guess. Not a really good segue to put in on this, but you know, this is definitely a really, really good heartwarming story again. And this has to do with Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which somewhere inside their world, and I'm not going to spoil too much about this, they're hiding a tribute to Iwata. And more specifically, the tribute is directly related to the whole story of Iwata being brought in to help out with the development of what was it, Pokemon Gold and Silver, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
They were having trouble coding the game, and they brought in Iwata. And not only did he manage to solve the problem, he managed to free up so much space that they were able to put the entirety of Kanto into the game as well, which just comes to show just what an amazingly talented developer that guy was, and just how much this industry misses him right now.
Yeah, I mean, with Iwata was very unique in the best possible way. I mean, a lot of people only remember him as the president of Nintendo that saw Nintendo rise really high and fall very far in his tenure. Because obviously the Wii and the 3DS were phenomenal successes. No, the Wii and the DS, sorry, were phenomenal successes. The 3DS less so, but towards the end of its lifespan, which it is now, it's leagues above the Vita. But then again, there's oceans that are higher than the Vita. But a lot of people forget that he was a phenomenal coder and video game kind of on the technical side, video game designer. A lot of people forget that, and the things he did were phenomenal. I mean, this is possibly the biggest one. The fact he managed to alter refine the code for Gold and Silver to the point that you could fit the entire original world from Pokemon Red and Blue into it, and it still made sense. That's a genius bit of coding. That genuinely is. And I'm really pleased that the Pokemon Company have seen fit to kind of honor him in the latest Pokemon game because of that. And not to mention, literally, there's no one else this statement could be about. Obviously, like you, I'm not going to ruin it or anything, but the way that it's written, it could not physically be about anyone but Iwata.
Oh, obviously, yes. It's carbon copy the same story. And if anybody has stumbled across it and they really didn't understand the whole story, now you know that where that story came from. And it's actually very real, and it's actually very, very heartwarming, and it's we really miss that guy. He just left us way too soon. I have to say, way too soon.
He did. I swear he would have probably had so much more to offer. I mean, bear in mind, his parting gift to us was the Switch.
Yes.
And just look at that. That's, Iwata, you were because the thing is the way that it looks, if you look back now and you look back over it and you look at what Iwata achieved, everything appeared to be leading to the Switch, because even the Wii U is essentially the Switch 0.5. If you look at what it was trying to do and what it succeeded in doing, it was only a short step below what the Switch does.
That's true.
So he was just working towards it, and he's just come out with this machine that's just taken the world quite literally by storm. But yeah, you've said it best when you say that the world is it's worse off without him in it, most definitely, and the games industry is definitely worse off without him in it.
That is absolutely true. Well, his legacy will live on, and hopefully it will carry on for many, many years to come.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's in good hands right now, I'd say.
Yes,
Kawashima,
absolutely. No disagreement.
Is a fantastic president too. So, I mean, albeit his focus is very different from Iwata, he's a very more business-minded president than Iwata, who was a gamer first. He explicitly said that, Iwata, that he's a gamer first, and you can see the difference in focus between Kawashima and Iwata, but it's in good hands, and Iwata really did lay a legacy that's continuing to live on. And yeah, rest in peace. Continue to rest in peace, Iwata. You're definitely missed. And that's evident, obviously, by the fact the Pokemon Company have chosen to honor you again, which has probably happened before when we missed it. But it's definitely happened this time. It's been very explicit. And while on the subject of explicit, CD Projekt Red. This shouldn't be news, but considering the fact that we've had a particular controversy for about 6 weeks running now, this is news because CD Projekt Red have literally come out explicitly on Twitter and said that their next game,
Cyberpunk 2077.
Thank you very much. The name kind of evaded me for a second. Will not contain any hidden catches, or, as they very explicitly put it, it won't have any bullshit in it. So basically, they are adamantly standing against loot boxes, against DLC, against microtransactions. They are standing fully against that. It shouldn't be news that a company is not doing really horrible practices, but we've got to laud the ones that are standing against this. And CD Projekt Red very evidently are.
No, we gotta showcase some of the biggest burns of the week, and this is the biggest burn of the year, I have to say, because not only did they say all of this, they ended the tweet with, "We leave the greed to others."
Yeah.
Oh, CD Projekt Red, I love you. Why am I not playing The Witcher? I need to play The Witcher. Well,
there's quite seriously, like EA, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, all of you guys, the medics are waiting if you need some lotion for that.
The burn unit is over there.
Yeah, there's no way this tweet wasn't aimed at you guys. No way.
Well, this is basically CD Projekt Red saying that Cyberpunk 2077 will basically be exactly what you would expect from the Wild Hunt, from The Witcher 3. Exactly the same thing. Bigger world, apparently. There's a lot of rumors and lots of leaks coming out saying that's going to be a much bigger world, etc., etc. But yeah, this is a big burn, but it gives me so much hope, which means that there's still out there developers who are willing to, and publishers who are willing to say, we need to make a game that is complete and deliver it as is, because games are more than just a business, they're also art.
Yeah. And a lot of publishers seem to forget that. And it's good that there are developers now that are saying, you can't forget this, because this is important to the industry, to not forget that these things are an art. These things are an art form, and to deny them that by carving them up for no good reason is a problem for everybody, and it will continue to be a problem for everybody until it gets stamped out.
Agreed.
Eventually.
Agreed. Totally agreed. And glad everything's going on this way. And I like a little bit of this infighting and a little bit of this, well, there's no back and forth. EA's not going to answer this kind of thing, respond to this kind of thing, not even acknowledge it. But I love it that, there are people out there, there are developers out there taking jabs. And that's going to be your weekly gaming blast. And yeah, that's going to be this week's news. We don't have a big discussion, unfortunately, but we did talk quite a bit about several of things. So yeah, we've filled our quota for the week, as it seems.
Well, we were freed up to talk about the news topics a bit more kind of cohesively than we normally do.
That's true. And I really enjoyed that. So yeah, what have you got going on to share with the audience?
Oh, just a couple of things. Are we back on streaming duty this week, which I haven't been doing the previous week because I've been in Brighton. So Tuesday back with Cuphead, Thursday back with Brawlhalla, Sunday again back with Dark Souls 2. YouTube videos going up every single day for the next few weeks as well, of which the first couple of episodes of my very recent Super Metroid stream will be going up as well. So look forward to the discourse on that one.
I was told there's discourse on that one, so I'm looking forward to that. Other
than that, just keep an eye on ruethegamer.com.
Awesome.
for
Yeah.
all of your gaming related stuff that I do in the industry with things and people.
For all Ruben things, go to ruthegamer.com.
Yeah, exactly that. I should have that as a tagline.
As for me, I'm back, slowly getting back to regular form. Bloodborne 2 is, my second Bloodborne 2 video is finally up. It's been up since this morning now of our recording. For you guys, probably going to be a couple of days prior, but yeah, that's okay. Gonna keep on doing those regular Ruby videos that I've been doing. I've been having a lot of fun with that show. I'm really enjoying it, and the community is just really unbelievable. If you like anime, if you haven't watched Ruby, pick it up. It's an amazing show made by an amazing company, Rooster Teeth, so definitely keep that on. And it's from the mind of Montium, who did like some really, really cool stuff. So yeah, check it out for sure. And for anything else you want from us, you can find us on the Twitters, the Facebooks, all the usual places. And yeah, that's going to be it for your weekly gaming blast. I hope you have a great gaming week, and we'll catch you later.
See you soon.